Professor Waleke, let's bring it home. Look at some of the trade wars we've not really been able to win. Look at rice. Smuggling rice into Nigeria. For decades, we've been trying to get this reigning. We're not able to do that. Then we use our petrodollars to bring petrol and diesel into Nigeria, which filters away through all our porous borders across the four corners of the country. Then our neighbors to the west coast try to set up a stage position to bring in imported chicken and turkey and rice into Nigeria, and we can't even fix that. So, if you look at Nigeria as a big brother within West Africa and the entire continent of Sub-Saharan Africa, to be more specific, how do you think we're a very strong country when it comes to trade relations?
Yes, our size too is now playing a factor there. Size in terms of landmass, in terms of the porous borders that we have. It's difficult to control the inflow of these items, even when you say you have you banned them. And again, one major reason that has encouraged smuggling, has to do with the tariff differentials across the borders, across the borders, the two countries. You find that when you increase tariffs here in Nigeria and they're not increased in Benin Republic, for example, or in Chad or in Niger, or even in Cameroon, what happens? These goods tend to come in through there. And that's why it's for this reason, really, that the ECOWAS countries had an agreement, an understanding, and came up with the common ECOWAS tariffs. But that is being more is being observed more in the breach. The full implementation has not really commenced. Once we have this in place, common external tariffs, then it will go a long way to check this, goods that are smuggled into the country. But let me make this point, boss, and before time runs out. I think we can borrow a leaf from experience of some countries. I'm particularly interested in the development trajectory of China. Up till 1990, if you recall, China's economy was still a closed one. It was not until the 90s that China began really to open up. And if you look at the book I told you about, I just mentioned here, the China strategy. It talked about 4 stages that China, went through to get to where they are today. One is open China. The other is competitive China. Then you also have official China, and then eventually, one world. What the open China was about opening up the economy, and that's what I think we should be doing. Not in terms of opening up the economy to trade, all manner of things coming into Nigeria, encouraging dumping, no, but in terms of attracting foreign companies into Nigeria. Because for us, when you say trade is an exchange. We have to have something to give to the outside world. And if we have just oil, it's a problem. And the way we can ramp up local production, is to have some from foreign companies come in here, to produce, to manufacture. And when they come in, they don't necessarily have to be in Lagos or Kano or the rest of them. No, when they come in, they are encouraged to go to city outskirts, to go to rural areas, to set up their business. And that's what happened in China, open China. And that's where we saw the emergence of new cities in China. And one thing that can also do is to also help to unlock the entrepreneurial spirit of Nigerians, because that's one way you can transfer technology. We need skills here to produce goods that are competitive. You can't be involved in trade, international trade, when your goods are not competitive, which is part of why our president had his misgivings in signing the African Continental Free Trade Area, because he felt we were not yet ready for that. But I think, yes, we should be part of it. But back home here, we try to make our goods competitive. So we need to open up our economy and then move on to the next stage, which is the competition, the entrepreneurial spirit, your last guest mentioned, Nigerians are entrepreneurial in nature. You need to go to Lagos or go to Nnewi or Aba or Kano to see, what I'm saying. And the way to do that is to have these foreign companies come in here. There's no way they will come in without engaging the locals. Yes, it's good to send our people from time to time. You send them to China to go and learn how to do things. But that, if you look at the impact is not much, because many of those people you send out may end up not coming back. So we need these foreign companies here to come and manufacture. We need Chinese companies here to come and produce. And when they come in, we'll also find a way of protecting our local industry.
That is straight, Professor. That is straight, Professor, because we're signing agreements left, right, and center with the Chinese for railways, for road, whatever it is. But I haven't seen any in those documents that we're asking the Chinese that they must do X, Y, Z within Nigeria.
Yes. That's the point. That's the point I was making. That it's important we get the Chinese investors to come here and manufacture, as opposed to manufacturing in China and then bringing the goods here. Because that way, when they come in here, they create jobs. But again, Watson, you cannot divorce a trade from investments. The two really go together. If Chinese come here and invest massively, the jobs are created. It's also a way of leveraging trade to solve the problem of unemployment and poverty reduction. And as I also mentioned earlier, it will also help technology transfer, help build skills here. And then much later, you can now begin to talk about the official, like what China did, the official China, official Nigeria, where you try to maintain control in pillar industries, in key sectors of the economy. You still excise them.
One last question for you.
Begin to talk about them.
One last question for you. One last question on trade for you. We're not letting you off here, but this one very important question. We got Vision 2020, Vision 2010, whatever. Then we have NEETs, then we have SEETs, now we have the ERGP. Do you think anything that we've done within the last 20 years, 1999 to be specific, to date, can deliver this trade and investment that we're talking about? And who should be leading this?
Yes, I think the challenge is, the government is beginning to recognize this challenge. Listening to the Minister for Trade and Investment, Dr. Elalema, the other day, he talked about Nigeria's trade policy of 2002. That's the latest that we have been reworked. So the office is reworking it. And one good thing too they have done is to set up this Nigerian office for trade negotiations. And the minister also said something to the effect that investors who are coming into Nigeria now will no longer be come free. They'll be asked to connect whatever they want to sell, to the manufacturing sector. So that to me is the way to go. And one more important thing too, we should begin to de-emphasize export of primary products, and which I'm also happy to note that he mentioned it, that in collaboration with the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council and the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, that the government is trying to de-emphasize the export of yams and cassava. We shouldn't be exporting these things except to have added value to them. That is the way to go, because if you continue to export yams and export cassava, it's marks of, in my view, it's marks of underdevelopment. So I'm happy that steps have been taken in that direction. And part of this, if you look at the goals of the 2002 policy, protecting infant industries, achieving competition, 3 goals, and then integrating Nigeria into the global value chain. These are laudable objectives. But again, what they're trying to do now is to infuse technology, to modernize it, because of course time has passed since 2002. So it's good the government is thinking in that direction. But what I want to say is speed. Let's walk the talk, as fast as we can.
It's going to be another trading week. We are short by 1 day. So we're going to start trading tomorrow. So if you get out of the classrooms and onto the stock exchange, a branch office in Abuja, and you get onto the trading engine, how would you trade?
Well, Boston, of course, the market opened on a highly bullish note early this year, and that's on the back of our optimism about the economy. But with some uncertainties creeping in, uncertainties from the fact that MPC couldn't meet, the fact that the budget, even as we speak, is set to be signed. That really impacted the market negatively, and then we saw foreign investors, exiting in droves. Well, of course, you also know global, developments affect the performance. What has happened now in the U.S. in terms of the Federal Open Market Committee, raising the federal fund rate to 1.75 to 2% will also affect the markets, because interest rates are going up in U.S. and it could trigger capital flows out of Nigeria. But I still see hope in the markets. I see the signing of the budget. Once the president signs the budget now on June 19, and the liquidity in the system begins to improve, I see part of that liquidity, coming to the stock market.
Professor, let's just cut to the chase. Straight question: have you made money from the stock market this year as a stockbroker? If yes, or as a trader, if yes, what sectors did you make money from, and what those sectors would you look at investors and say, for the second half of the year, July to December, this is where you can make profit? I want some hope.
Okay, I'll just speak from my colleague's experience, because as you know, I am a full-time teacher in the classroom. I teach capital markets, even though I'm a chartered stockbroker. But I can say, yes, in industrial goods, even consumer goods, industrial goods done with cement, consumer goods, Nestle, even the agric, Okomo oil, and so on. And of course, the financial sector, that was earlier this year, likes of GTB and Zenith, that really appreciated in price. So these are the sectors that have really moved the market. But of course, the bellwether still remains the industrial goods and consumer goods. These ones are determining really the direction of the market.
Professor, we'll continue this conversation some other day. You let us know how you've profited for the trading year. We're getting to the first half of the year already in a couple of days down the line. Thank you very much, and we appreciate spending most of your time with us this morning on the program. We're back to the markets and business formally on this side of the world tomorrow. Let's get together tomorrow again. And first, we'll be looking at the office of the president, if he's signing that budget of 2018 into law. That'll be the biggest story from here tomorrow when we return. See you then.